In 2013, Islos High debuted on Hulu, bringing the telenovela into the digital age. With classic stories told in a new way for a new audience, Islos High broke ground for Latinos while delivering a powerful message. With interviews with the people who made the show to never-before-seen footage, this is a behind-the-scenes look at the making of Islos High. In 2009, Population Media Center, a nonprofit organization dedicated to creating educational entertainment around the world, partnered with Wise Entertainment, who developed and produced the TV series and franchise.
So we were looking into creating our first ever show here in the US. And at the time, teen pregnancy was actually on the rise. And we wanted to see where those rates were the highest. 53% of Latina girls had had at least one pregnancy by the age of 20. So that's more than 1 in 2.
You're pregnant? I've been taking the test for days, but the pinches stick keeps turning pink.
So after we decided to create a show about Latino teens living in the US, we began looking for Latino writers to create that story because there's no one else better to tell that story in a meaningful and authentic way.
The thought of creating a telenovela for social change and in English for young Latinos was an amazing opportunity.
I'm an immigrant. I came to the United States when I was 9. So I grew up watching telenovelas with my mother, my aunts, my sisters. But I also grew up watching American shows like Melrose Place, Beverly Hills 90210. So I took those both worlds and I combined them, and that's how I came up with Islos High.
We set out to create a story about Latinos, young Latinos living in East LA, that was as realistic and as relatable as we could make possible.
At the heart of Islos High, there's universal stories about love, friendship, romance. But what makes the show so unique and so special is that it's about a very specific experience of these teens in East LA. And I think because the story is so specific, we're actually able to make it more universal.
To help tell their story, Islos High's producers assembled a group of up-and-coming Latino actors and actresses.
My favorite part of working in Islos High was working with all these young Latino actors. I think that was just an amazing experience, and to work with them and just see that youth and that excitement that they brought to the show, the energy, the love, the passion that they brought to the show, that was really, really major.
Islos High was written by Latinos, it stars Latinos, there's Latinos behind the scenes. This story is set out to represent us.
Growing up, I didn't really have any particular show or a film that really depicted my upbringing. Like this bilingual kid growing up in LA, you know what I'm saying?
It was a huge experience seeing Latinos on TV and not seeing them on TV. Because I'd watch TV and enjoy it, but then I'd realize like, nobody looks like me or my friend.
The reason why I think it's so important for young Latinos to see themselves on TV is because I'm a firm believer of role modeling.
Role modeling is really at the center of the stories of Islos High and the characters because we wanted to create a story that our audience could really identify with, that they could see themselves in the characters and the situations that they were presented with, and they could even take actions in their own lives that were similar to those of the characters.
The development and production process for Islos High incorporated extensive on-the-ground research to understand the issues and portray them in a realistic way, and also to reflect the history and culture of East LA and Latino teens.
Islos High is really unique because we work with a large advisory committee of nearly 20 nonprofit organizations who specialize in the issues that we address. These are people who are living it and breathing it every single day. We really use their expertise to help ground the issues and deal with them in a meaningful way. We're really going into the community and to the schools and talking with teens themselves to make sure we're creating a show that is really speaking to today's teens and the issues that they're facing.
Another key element to telling an authentic story is to have an authentic setting that is rich and full of life. To properly portray East LA, Islos High was shot in the east side of Los Angeles.
There was a lot of community involvement. We lost one of the locations, and one of the producers says, well, you know what, I'm gonna call my tia who lives in East LA and maybe she can lend us use her house. And he called her up, and 2 days later we were there, and we shot there for almost 3 weeks. So it was a very homegrown project. And I think that's one of the reasons why it feels so real to everybody who watches it.
Each of the 24 episodes in Islos High's first seasons were shot all at once. That's over 500 pages of material in just 67 shoot days. In order to film that much material in such a short amount of time, Carlos Portugal and director of photography Kira Kelly had to figure out how to shoot in an efficient way without sacrificing style or storytelling.
Basically how Carlos and I work together and how a lot of DPs and directors work together is when you're in pre-production, you start talking about like, okay, this is the type of lighting style that we want. This is the type of camera movement that we want. From the very beginning, Carlos wanted to have this be more of a handheld feeling show. We kind of felt like if we gave it sort of like a documentary sort of feel, that people would be able to feel like they were really being part of like this conversation.
Our cast and crew not only loved the show because it's a fun, edgy, young show, but I think they also really connected to the issues that we were dealing with. That really brought a different level of energy and participation from everyone involved.
Everybody came into this project knowing this was a special project. They knew there was a show about a message.
When I was growing up, my best friend in life was pregnant, got pregnant at 16, and it had a huge impact on our family, on our friendships, on everything.
Yeah, I saw that when I was growing up in high school. I saw, friends of mine were having kids at an early stage in their lives. I had friends getting pregnant early on. I had cousins having babies when they were like teenagers, and they had to get married young, and they're going through really, really adult decisions.
It's very unfortunate, but it's very true that a lot of kids don't feel that they're able to talk to adults about some of these issues.
If we hear it from a parent or we hear it from a teacher, it's not the same as if you're just watching a reflection of yourself on the TV screen going through that. And not in a preachy way, it's just in a really real way.
In order to speak to the new way that audiences consume media, Islos High was conceived with a complete transmedia experience in mind.
So basically, transmedia is the ability of getting a story world, and expanding it using different platforms to enhance the experience of who is watching or experiencing that story.
Bonus scenes, vlogs, blogs, and even a cooking show allowed viewers to immerse themselves deeper into the world of Islos High.
In a drama you have like a particular cadence and things that will fit into your half-hour episode. But one of the great things about transmedia is you can spend that time. You can actually sit down with that character and go deeper.
That was our idea, to get the story world and make layers and connect to the services, but also to interesting content, vlogs, social media, and also how to find a clinic for Planned Parenthood close to your home.
We're heading in a different generation with Facebook and Twitter and all that good stuff. I'm happy that they're gonna enjoy seeing more of Soli, online, but it's also a place where they're probably feeling more comfortable, where they might, check out those website links that we will be posting.
We had a whole research process of how to develop the show, what was the demand, how the public was underserved, and all that. Hulu ended up being the best home for it because it's digital. You can watch anywhere you want, anytime you want.
Islos High debuted on Hulu in June 2013. Fans were immediately hooked by the addictive nature of the show.
We were blown away with the audience reactions, and I think within 2 days the hashtag ELHaddict had been created and then retweeted and reused throughout the social media universe.
In its first 2 months, Islos High was the #1 show on Hulu Latino and was in the top 5 of any show on Hulu.
The show received huge critical acclaim across the board, from the LA Times to Cosmopolitan magazine, really talking about how this show was changing the game.
Islos High not only delighted audiences with its salacious storylines, but also succeeded in delivering lessons about teen pregnancy and safe sex. In order to understand the impact of the show at a deeper level, an extensive research study was conducted among viewers after the show aired.
One of the things we found was that 60% of viewers had actually referred a friend to one of the resources on Islos High. And another thing that we found was that a large majority of our viewing audience were actually far more likely to get tested for STDs themselves and even recommend that service to their friends.
Recognized for its ability to blend entertainment and education, Islos High has received numerous honors from across the entertainment industry.
Islos High helped us to confirm a thesis that like if your brand has a good story, you can build an amazing content around it and people will watch it, people will spread it, and people will talk about it.
We're just so excited about what the show has accomplished and the world we've created and the characters that are being developed.
For me, it's about empowerment. It's about how to empower young Latinas and make them stronger.
So as you go out into the world, make choices that honor your dreams and your best self. This way, you'll begin to build a future that's worthy of you.
We can't wait for season 2 and all the future seasons where we can further expand on the world of East Los High and also continue to go deep into the issues of what teens are facing today in the U.S. So at the end of the day, we know that we've really made a difference.